Entering the Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience presented by DraftKings 2021 WGC St. Jude Invitational plus the Barracuda Championship picks, bets, one and done. We're only going to do the one and done for the WGC. Tim didn't even give us his pick yet, although we were just talking to him. If you guys didn't know, there's going to be a brand new Cussed Corner coming out next week, so please go subscribe to the Cussed Corner feeds and be on the lookout for that one. It will be in the newsletter early. You can probably get it a week before everyone else if you subscribe to the Mayo Media Network newsletter. Find that down in the description, as you will find the Pat Mayo Experience Listeners League link. It is back after an off week, the first off week we've had in like 5 years. Just didn't think there was going to be that much interest in Olympic golf. Maybe I was wrong, although it was the most difficult thing in the world to watch because it was on at the weirdest times, and I was in bed for a lot of it, so that was tough for me. But either way, go play in the Listeners League link. That is open right now. Let's fill it up so we can have some big ones for the FedEx Cup playoffs before it turns into the NFL situation. I'm still running the review giveaway over on Fantasy Football Picks and Bets. If you hit the description, you'll see the Apple Podcast link. You subscribe, leave a 5-star rating and review, something you enjoy about the show, Twitter handle or email address in the review so I can contact you if you're a winner. We have now received enough reviews that has been bumped from $500 to $1,000 in the prize pool, so you can just get some cash in your hand just by leaving that rating and review. So please help us support Mayo Media Network by both subscribing to the YouTube channel and leaving that review for the new show. I got a ton of football content out already. There's more on the way, but we're here to talk about golf. So fantasynational.com/Mayo will get you 20% off any membership that you like. And there's like a month of like real golf left. And there's like an off week. Then golf season starts again. So it's never a bad time to get in on fantasynational.com. If you like Fantasy National for golf, you're going to love runthesims.com for football because it's essentially the Fantasy National for football. And it's awesome so far. The free trial is over, but if you want to get $50 off, go to runthesims.com/Mayo because the prices are not as high as they're going to be in September, so there's still time to get in on that cheaper membership right now and get yourself that $50 savings by going to runthesims.com/Mayo. Game simulations, optimizer, player projections, all the season-long stuff is going to be free, so you can just go sign up and not worry about that if you don't care about betting or DFS, you just care about season-long. That will all be up there. Geoff Fienberg, Xander, gets it done at the Olympics. I thought that Justin Thomas was going to be the king of the no-cut event. It turns out it's the guy who's the second best in no-cut events. Xander finally puts it all together. Congratulations to him.
The narrative came home. Like we joked for the entire year, almost since the Masters, second place, that he was going to just do this again and then go win a gold medal. Heartfelt congratulations to Xander, to his family. The gold medal didn't gain more importance to Xander after winning it because he won it. Anyone who follows this thing closely was keenly aware of how much priority, emphasis he put on it personally. He put on it with his team and his desire to peak for this event. And great. I missed his really hot run when I guess it was round 2 after a rain delay. I woke up and he I went berserk. But all the credit to him. It was setting up for him to come second to Hideki again, but he didn't. And great. And as I kind of said during the week last week, Pat, with a lot of the odds, there was an easy case to make, as much as it was hard to swallow, that the Xander odd and a lot of those top odds did represent some value. Even after the withdrawal, say Xander was 9-1, 950. Well, if he's 18-1 at full field events, even as low as 16-1s that we mock, some books post him at 14-1s to win majors. Isn't 9-1 in a field that for any of those top guys I determined would probably be 70% easier to win than a WGC or any kind of nice big field? So yeah, I don't know. I was never willing to bet it, but in hindsight, the number did have true value.
Sure, because he won, but you could have made that case for a lot of guys that didn't win at the top.
Oh, all those. Justin Thomas had value. Yeah, if he went off at 20 at the Open and he's 12 here, to me, his chances of winning here were 75% higher than winning the Open. So I could make that case there with a lot of the top guys, Rory, even any of those top guys. I think you could have argued that those lines represent value based on how we experience this sport from a betting perspective weekly.
Sure, if you had jumped on Xander, I mean, congratulations on the cash. I mean, it's a great hit. Anytime you can hit a winner, it's an awesome hit. But the reason that I don't like betting guys like Xander, because if you've been betting Xander all year and you just won with him, you're still down money. Like, just his odds are never good.
Oh, I don't doubt that. But in the sense of this tournament alone, no, you could argue that we always make the case that the 16s, the 14s, the 18s are never fair to begin with. But yeah, no, I never, that would be a lot of money I would have to make on a bet like that. I'm not a Xander truth or better. I have my other losers that I've still never made myself whole on.
Yeah, I don't want to put it out there like I don't have guys that I bet all the time who I'm just down truckloads of money on. I am,
yeah,
but they're not usually like 14-1 guys.
No, and no one who even loves Xander knew that they could make their, I think they've acknowledged like making their money back is going to be hard. Yeah, and I don't like to bet that way. I thought this event, as someone we tried to be proactive one time in our life here, and the board like completely goes banana. Because we did that show, I did have like fun numbers, so I didn't even feel a need to get into what happened after shit got crazy.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. I want to give a special shout out to the coverage that at least we were watching. I don't know if it was the same in the States, but the Canadian CBC feed for golf was probably the best coverage I've ever seen in golf.
Pat, I don't know how to explain this other than I have perceptions of what something would be like in life. It's not something I really feel a need for or something that I would want, and you'll know where I'm going in a second. But the IOC was like a 5-star escort. And once every 4 years, she came into my life, and you pay for a 5-star escort, you're probably expecting something. But she was so good, she did things you didn't even know you wanted. She didn't even know you needed. You didn't even know were possible. And now you're walking back in the door, and it's that woman that person who doesn't cook, clean, or even have a job. And wouldn't even know how to tickle you right. The IOC serviced me. Holy shit. What was that? Shot. Like, to the 8th hole, to the 6th hole, to the 4th hole, to the 12th hole. No manufactured bullshit. It was magical. And to think in 4 years to do it again, I'm going to like make a whole woman's card. That being said, I only watched day 1 and 4, but I imagine day 2 and 3 were probably the exact freaking same. And then maybe I need to hold back because I don't know how much I'm actually going to watch of the ladies. But when I do, I know that coverage is going to also be spectacular. But that was unbelievable. I can't even believe it. Like, it didn't have, a lot of the fancy frills that we get, or we didn't even feel like we had an on-course reporter. I think a lot of that stuff might have been COVID related. And they still made me feel like I was being touched like I've never been touched before by a golf broadcast.
It was great. They did the one thing that we want, and you hit on it. They showed shots from everyone in the field. It wasn't like, oh, Rory's on the course, we're only showing Rory shots, or Xander and Hideki are leading, we're only showing those. So it's like, no, we'll show everyone. We got time. This is great.
It was incredible.
I
don't know.
I don't think that NBC even went to like the live coverage of it on NBC like proper, but during the final round overnight, which is just mind-boggling.
I didn't even pay attention to what they were doing. I know they had a great experience also. I just thought that they just had their own American commentators. We got the world feed commentators, and it was it was magical baritones of commentary. I tell you that much. Like it was a lot like some of those European mornings, Pat. It was truly phenomenal. It was truly phenomenal.
I tweeted out the link to the broadcast that we had. It was all just on streaming. Like, it never did the golf appear on like our main feeds ever, because I think it was just, but it's a free streaming service. It's not like you needed Peacock in order to watch it. You could just put in the link and watch it. Maybe you needed a VPN to use it, but I think the people in the States could have watched the CBC one, like the world feed.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And as we have a very interesting Olympic experience to begin with here, as we've got like 3 networks that partner together to show it to us.
And there's nothing we enjoy more than celebrating a guy who came in fucking 3rd place.
Yeah, no, that's Canada's specialty. Good old personal best. Like we'll take that to the moon. You're called a legend. But with that, like there's always an ability to spotlight the big world events that are happening that have nothing to do with the Canadians, and clearly give the Canadians all their TV time as well. We're never like not getting anything good with our coverage. And while some people acknowledge it was kind of hard to find on the TV, unless you like print it out or like we're looking at an app seeing like Olympic scheduling, it was always, the live coverage was always on one of those 3 channels. Like they might step away for 5 minutes or just to update some things, but they went right back. So it was always on. So kudos. I've used a lot of hyperbole and some ridiculous analogy, but I'm mesmerized from a golf fan. Like it's possible. You could say that's 4 years of planning. No, it isn't. It's just like people on site having some concept of capturing this event for the viewing audience.
It's funny when we broke down the narratives and everyone kind of bought into it. Like I think everyone I know bet Siwoo Kim last week because, we were all rooting for him to get a medal so he wouldn't have to do his military service. But apparently he can defer again and potentially qualify for Paris to try to get out of it, just like Sung Jae Im did. So there was those 2 main narratives that got people onto those guys. The Hideki narrative that he had tested positive for COVID, missed the Open Championship. He had been over there presumably, either practicing or even training at that course. Those were like the 3 big ones. But then
the Xander narrative too, which kind of came through that we joked about for months.
That's the whole thing. So there's the other 3, the 3 medals actually went to the next 3 sort of like Olympic storyline type narrative people. You have Xander, dad didn't get what was he, a decathlete, and he didn't end up winning a gold medal, and it really meant a lot to him to go over and do this. You have Rory Sabatini, who essentially changed nationalities with his second wife in order to qualify for the Olympics. And then CT Pan, who it turns out that Taiwan just gives out a bunch of cash if you win a medal of any sort, and he ended up coming in 3rd. Like I would say that those were probably the 3. They were the much lesser talked about 3 narratives, but those were the 3 narratives after the big 3, and those were the ones that all came through.
In that theory, you're absolutely right. Also, to Xander, like his mom is Japanese, his grandparents still live there. So yeah, that was special to him. And full credit to Sabatini. Like I give Xander a heartfelt congratulations. I don't know how to like verbalize this properly, and people might tell me I am wrong, Pat, or that I missed the mark. But a lot of those Olympic narratives, some gained steam last week and some we'd been talking about for years. The Sabatini thing we've kind of been talking about for years, but we never talked about it like it was not just us. It was always talked about under the guise of like straight humor. And like, we never, like, it was like we laughed at it. Like we laughed at it. I know I did. I think a lot of us did. There were so many narratives, as you said, that we took so seriously, like hyper seriously. This one, for the course of years, we never like were even willing to legitimize. And the guy goddamn popped. He shot a 10 under. It was amazing. He almost was. Xander put it in the trees at the last. You're like, holy shit. Like, with this wife, both of them had their wife on the bag, the other medals. But yeah, the Sabatini thing, in some like messed up way, it's as wild to me as some of the wild things we got this year. like from Phil capturing a major, like, I don't know, like that was so crazy. Yeah, I don't know, laughed at it for years. Good for you, man. Like, wow.
Wonder if that gets him anything. Although we were looking into it earlier, Slovakia now has 2 silvers and a gold, so not a bad Olympics for Slovakia.
Yeah, I guess it's as simple as his mother-in-law is from his wife, right? You could just marry into it, right? Like I always knew
no. It's not like It's not like he got married and then all of a sudden he could play for Slovakia. He had to go through the process of becoming Slovakian after he married her. And like, even to hear him talk about it, he was like, South Africa has a lot of golfers. It apparently meant a lot to him to go represent Slovakia. He started a lot of programs over there to make the sport bigger in Slovakia because, you know, he wasn't one of the, I mean, he was a top South African golfer, but he was never like the elite.
No, but I get
South
it. Go
African
be
golfer.
a big fish in a really small pond instead of being like right now we would still be talking about Higo and excited about Wilco and Bizadenhout beyond the stalwarts, you know, the major champions of South African golf. So in that sense, yeah, it was he would have had no chance sticking around in that scene of South African golf. And you are absolutely right. Like he's like even at Rio, like before Rio, like he really wanted to do this Olympic thing. So the fact that he cashed it, that's really special. And like I said, like once you really grasp all of it in like my own little way, it's as part, like it fits perfectly in like with some of the really crazy things that we got from this season of golf, man. Wow.
Yeah. Since we recorded early last week, we didn't recap the 3M because I was away playing the Cabot courses. So I did a recap of Tim. Tim actually joined the show on the DraftKings show last week after Raza was on. And we talked about Cabot a little bit. But one thing I wanted to say for you about it is we went and ate lunch one day after our round before we went and played the par 3. Then we took off for the night to go play a different course. That we looked up at the scorecard at the 3M, and Ricky was in first place by like 2 strokes. And I was like, oh man, Geoff must be like having a heart attack. And then I checked back in later in the day, and he was in like 40th place or something. What the hell happened to Ricky?
That 18th hole at the 3M is insane, Pat. Like it's a par 5, but bogey is like holes that you can eagle, and we've seen eagles there. The floor on those holes is par, right? Like on a lot of tour holes that like, oh, eagles like really in play here. Like the worst you can sometimes do, the majority of the field does on those is par. The amount of guys that went to that 18th hole and got obliterated was crazy. That event was a lot of fun. That event was really good. I don't know. It sets up for anyone to win that course, like the player type, and it was hyper entertainment. I'm like, everything sort of blurs together. So I'm now trying to recall 3M, but it was a straight hoot. And you asked me to name 100. I named champ. He hasn't lost anything from his good John Deere performance on his number. I didn't bet it. A lot of really people we like, we're friends with, crushed it. So bang, 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 bang. It's funny. 2 of the big numbers, like Cam Davis and champ winning, were like very popular 100 to 1 picks, 140 to 1, 50 to 1, 125 to 1 picks. We're never surprised when those things cash, but it is quite surprising, like that they were community. You know what I'm trying to say? Like a lot of people were on them in them cashing.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I was not one of the people who was cashing those tickets, but I did see a lot of those tickets, so that made me happy. I would have been happier if Johnny Vegas won, put it that way.
Yeah, I had a few, I don't know, I had a few guys flirt with it. Sergio played amazing. I joked, Pat, that I don't like Sergio. We should just call him Sergio Gellerman because they felt like the same dude.
I mean, when we win the Sergio Gellerman double, it will make up for all of the Cam Davises and Cameron Champs that we've missed this week.
That's from Timothy Frank.
I played it. I played that exact bet. How could you not? I almost hit the double here last year. I hit the each way part of the double. I had a Brooks Schwab double. And it almost won because Brooks blew it at the WGC to JT last year. And JT got himself out from underneath that tree on the 18th hole. That I thought Schwab was just going to win. And I think Brooks came second, Schwab came third, but the each way part. So that was Werenski ended up winning. There's a bunch of people in contention last year. So any final Olympic stuff? I bet Brooke Henderson along with you, by the way, for the women's Olympics.
No, my final Olympic thought is by the time we're in 2028, the desire to qualify will be fever pitch. 2028 Riviera will have talking points on guys race to qualify months out. We've gotten excited for the Olympics as it's come, and I enjoy it when it's here. And I mention a different pace, and I enjoy that. And if they want to, there's a lot of people that want to talk about the format, whatever. I'll get excited for whatever they do because I do this week in, week out. But by the time we're here at 2028 doing Olympic golf, every golfer in the world, in my opinion, will on their schedule think I want to qualify for this. And we can finally maybe have an Olympics in Paris that doesn't have the overshadow of Zika, which we could understand would be hyper fearful, maybe even more fearful than COVID to some of these young, great golfers and where they are in their life. And then at a COVID Olympics. So it would, to professionals with those sorts of clouds and how successful those guys are, hopefully we can get a games that's free of a lot of bullshit and this thing can grow. But it'll keep getting better.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. I would like to see a stronger field. It's not like the field was weak by any means, but even to compare it to this WGC field this week, it was substantially weaker than the field that we're getting this week. Almost every single top-end player is playing in Memphis this week except for John Rahm, it seems like. So that just wasn't the case at the Olympics. Yeah, I think people will. And the fact that it'll be in the U.S., like it's not like a huge diversion out of your way to go do it. It's played at Riviera. Tiger will probably have something to do with it considering he already hosts a tournament at that course anyway. Maybe he'll stage a comeback and qualify for the team. Who even knows what's going to happen in 2028 when he's 52 years old or something like that. Unlikely, but I would like to see it happen. Let's talk WGC, though. WGC St. Jude Invitational. JT beat Brooks last year, and then Brooks won the year before that. It's 7,238 yards as a par 70. It's sneakily one of the longer courses on tour when you consider par into the equation. So just because it's a par 70 doesn't mean that it's going to be like one of these, like the Travelers or the Heritage or something like that. It's more akin with like the Valspar, which is a par 71, but it's just plays a lot longer than par would potentially suggest. So you're going to have to be good off the tee. You're going to have to be good with your irons. The player that has finished number one in strokes gained tee to green has won this event in 7 of the past 9 years. This was not always a WGC. It was the St. Jude Classic. Daniel Berger won twice. Phil was always in the mix. We had Dustin have the walk. This was the course where Dustin had the walk-off hole out on Andrew Putnam too, wasn't it?
Yes.
He was like 4-1 that week and just dumming everyone. So it's a course where a lot of the very top end players and the top end players in this field have had a lot of success in the past. So when we look at the odds, it's kind of weird to see from DraftKings Sportsbook. Morikawa, Brooks, and Spieth are all 12-1. Xander coming off the win is 14-1. Dustin and JT are 18-1. Berger and Rory and Louis are 20-1. Then you have Victor Hovland at 28-1. That is the same as Webb Simpson, Patrick Cantlay, Paul Casey, Matthew Fitzpatrick, Scotty Scheffler, and Bryson DeChambeau. A lot of players below 30-1 on this betting board, and only 2 of them currently have my interest. And one of them I think is a bit too low on the scale to actually bet. But my second bet of the week, Jeff, went on Daniel Berger, not at 20-1, at 25-1 when he first opened. So I have Daniel Berger at 25-1.
Yeah, I'm a big Berger fan. I would have probably bet him if he found a way into Tokyo last week somehow. I got no issues with that. He is my favorite player in the 20s. It is interesting to see, though, a couple players that never get odds board respect, Pat, though, are the 2 favorites. Right? Like, wouldn't we argue that Morikawa and Brooks are perennially disrespected in terms of where we usually find them in full fields? Brooks even being at the back of the super elites with his win equity is always, a debating point when a lot of people do their golf betting stuff. So that's the first thing that hit me is, okay, like we're finally ready to acknowledge these guys at the moment. Like Brooks is still always going to contend, and Morikawa is not only might be bringing the most win equity into the field at the moment, but what he does, I mean, even be getting into that playoff for third place. The ball striking numbers at the moment it's unconscious. The gap between him and second place when you deep dive the rounds at the moment.
Yeah, if you're not betting on Morikawa, you're just betting that his putter's not going to show up, which is a pretty good bet most of the time because his putter doesn't show up most of the time. And it's weird because at this course, JT won a year ago and lost strokes putting, and Brooks came second and also lost strokes putting. So it's actually one of those courses where you can ball strike your way, still be like marginal putting and still win, which is really terrifying with Morikawa at the top if you don't have money on him. And I'm probably not going to bet him this week. I want to bet Brooks, but I just don't want to bet him at 12-1. He has a win here. He has a second place here. He's played 4 majors and 1 WGC so far this year, and he has 4 finishes inside the top 6 in those events, and the other one was the miscut at the Masters when he couldn't bend down. So these are the types of fields that he comes up. I wrote this up in my column on DK Playbook. Like, and when you get an elite field and you get the best players in the world, it's a real thing. It doesn't mean that Brooks is always going to play poorly at the crappier events. Like, he won in Phoenix. He was top 10 at the Travelers, but you just look at his miscuts this season. The American Express, Palmetto, what was the other? Byron Nelson. Like, sometimes he doesn't give a shit, and he will give a shit about this one.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. Even, with his tough guy exterior, when you've succeeded here, when you keep coming back here, it's a tournament that you certainly want to win, and it has some beauty. I mean, the St. Jude attachment is one of the more beautiful things in professional golf, and now it has what would you call the illustrious,
the
like
allure?
WGC label?
Yeah, it has the prestige. Like, this tournament really got upgraded.
Yes, as we've seen a lot of tournaments get, thrown a bone over the years, or a dog's breakfast, I should say. This one has greatly benefited in many ways. I think we can't sort of have a conversation about betting this tournament without just having a blanket conversation, because you did mention Colin. Just thoughts on anybody who played last week. Is it clearly individually case by case, or might you just blindly have zero interest, be it odds, or you don't want to chase anybody who was in Tokyo?
I don't know. I'm so far with the bets that I've made, I haven't bet anyone that was in Tokyo, but that wasn't purposeful. It's not like I was like, oh, I'm crossing those guys off. They just didn't, in terms of odds, leap out to me, because I think that there are a few guys that played last week in the Olympics that are pretty good odds. I would have to say that has to be like a negative against them, though, right? That just not only like the 13-hour time difference, the amount of travel, but if you went over, because the guy, it's not like the only thing they did over there was go to and from the course. Like, they were hanging around the Olympic Village. Apparently Justin Thomas was trying to get autographs from all the NBA guys the entire time. Like, there's the spectacle of the Olympics that I think would be a bit more draining than just simply playing the golf as well and trying to peak for that moment.
Yeah, and this is a great event to have off the Olympics because it offers those superstars a no cut where come make money, start cold, get hot Sunday. We'll still send you a big direct deposit. Don't worry about it, boys.
Do you think?
Don't worry about it.
Do you think that anyone is at risk of that, though, of pulling the burger, of hitting a shot and not necessarily hitting a shot and withdrawing, but like if Xander is 79 after round 1, you think he's playing round 2?
Oh, I don't know. I guess that's always in play and something you'll probably discuss on your DraftKings show. Like, is that something I'm going to think about?
I don't think.
I don't think these guys. I don't know.
I don't think that you can think about that. I don't think that you can.
Okay, you're right. I would never. You're right. I would never. You're betting on the ceiling. If I bet or roster you, I'm betting or rostering you on your ceiling, and I don't give that 2% like credence. You're right. That's probably the far more prudent way to go. So other than asking you about gentlemen who were in Japan, can I ask how you feel this course sets up for Bryson? Because I am fully anticipating, before we wrap this sucker up, he is going to roar one more time this year, bigly.
I can see that. It might be at Liberty National in 2 weeks. Also remember, like, the Wyndham is next week, then the FedEx Cup playoffs start. So this is the final tune-up for a lot of these guys, because we will not see them at Sedgefield CC next week. But just, I know he's a different player, but he wasn't necessarily a different player a year ago. He has not done well at this course over the years. 30th, 48th, 30th, miscut, 45th. Like, it's just, this hasn't been a friendly spot to him. So that's good enough for me to stay away from him. I mean, he's Bryson. He gained 10 strokes putting at this event last year and came in 30th.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like he's just going to be, I feel like all of like the negative is being quite overblown.
Oh, for sure. Like, even when you look at like sort of the run that he had before API and Players, when he came first and third those back-to-back weeks, he had a terrible lead-in for him. He was like 7th at Kapalua, then he missed the cut at the Genesis. He played in that WGC, didn't even come inside the top 20, and then boom, boom. Like, if Bryson brings it, Bryson's bringing it. It just doesn't seem like he's there right now.
Yeah, I would totally agree on that. I'm always tempted though. You know, if it is a course that has suited Justin Thomas well, Daniel Berger well, Brooks Koepka well, it's hard to see why it's not suiting Bryson.
I can see that as well. I would say that if he isn't reasonable off the tee, like obviously he's going to drive it 40 billion yards, but if he doesn't have some sense of strategy, he's going to be in the water a lot, because this is the course with the most water balls on the PGA Tour.
Do you know, I'm trying to look it up on the fly and I can't find it, but just in my ability to gauge how well this guy can go from one far place to another potentially.
Reed?
Was Hovland's win in Germany the week directly after his US Open withdrawal?
Yes, it was.
I'm such a loser. Something as small as that might make me like not be able to quit him, especially because you just say this is tee to green. Everything, and let me own this. Going to bed on the first 2 days of this Olympic golf, I was certain I was waking up to Victor, like full throttled heater. I like, you know me, I love to scroll to the bottom, and I like couldn't wait. I like shot out of bed like a cannon. Show me Victor, first place. Second place. Every time I went to bed, he was like running a train, and I didn't really watch it because it was late and I fell asleep, but he never maintained anything and he went backwards. Still finished great because he's Victor and he's amazing.
That's how I felt about Justin Thomas, who I had money on. I was like, oh, I'm just going to go to, he's like, he threw 6 holes. He hasn't made a birdie yet. Like, what is going on here? I was like, the first round, I wake up, he's like, oh, he's even. I was like, okay, that's strange. Then I do the same thing on night 2. It's like, I watch him for the first little bit. I'm tracking him. He's even through 6. Like, when I wake up, he'll be like 8 under or something like that. And it just never materialized until the final few days. Should we be, like, did he find something in those final 2 rounds? Because he's had a lot of success at this course himself.
He's had a ton of success here, and I would argue this is like a perfect. If he wasn't, this is where I don't know what to make of the Olympics, because part of me was telling myself last night, Pat, that if Justin Thomas wasn't at the Olympics, this is where I would be back on for him to get back on, as Xander Brooks and Colin have sort of passed him on an odds board fairly, but I wasn't there at the Olympics and was like, this would be the time for me. But I don't know what to make of Tokyo, although I'm just trying to convince myself that if I want, Victor still makes perfect sense. So I don't know. Justin Thomas, even as he struggles, I'm still like you, waiting for him to make like 7 birdies in 11 holes. And okay, here we go. Everything's fine. Gonna kill these people now. But
yeah.
It materialized.
I'm just going to feel like such a dummy when I bet him last week and then don't bet him this week. And he just, after he ripped my guts out a year ago, just with that final round that he had to beat Brooks, just, it killed me. It's also my guy, Shez Reedy, I had last year as well. He came in 6th, couldn't make a putt all week. And the final round was just like a travesty from 3 feet from the hole. And this is one of the easier courses for 1 putt percentage as well. Like, Dustin and JT are the same odds. Dustin is still 18. Like, is he a sleeping giant here, or is he just kind of off?
I think I'm leaning to sleeping giant, Pat. I think some of the struggles have been overblown because there have been incredibly strong moments. And it's like, even in those last 2 majors, he was in great positions after 2 rounds, and then Saturday sort of kills himself in a muck event like the Palmetto. You think like there's no point of even watching the weekend, and Saturday he kills himself. Like, really weird. Like, because he's putting himself in optimal striking DJ positions going into that time where he usually does rev up, and if anything, he's going the wrong way. But I'm silly enough to believe, like, there's no way that roulette wheel doesn't come up soon. Well, because is he, depending on how you want to grade that win, I guess the official calendar will call that first Masters a win in November based on the PGA calendar. But he has that immaculate record in golf at the moment. Nobody has won in as many straight years as him, and I don't think it's close. Like, it's Dustin and a definitive gap. And we could be on like 11 or 12 straight years with a win per season, at least.
I think it's every year since 2009 that Dustin has won.
Incredible.
On tour.
Incredible.
And I don't know if that
I don't think that's going to end anytime soon. And I think official math gives him that win because it was November and that calendar flips in the PGA record.
I don't know if it's every season he's won or every year, like calendar year that he's won. It's probably both at this point. So I don't know how it was being tracked. So I think he won a Vegas event. That was his first win in 2009, but I have to go back and look at that. So I think he's a sleeping giant. Like, Rory's sitting there at 20. It's not like he had a bad week over at the Olympics.
No, if anything, maybe that Rory's so weird. Like, I love Rory. We love his candor. It was very nice to see him take his words back where he spoke about maybe a lack of patriotism. He took them back, and he quickly took them back. And even if you break down those words coming like 5 minutes after he has a bad Open Championship, and this is Rory McIlroy. So a full year just closed on him not winning a major, which means to Rory, the year was a failure. Asked about the Olympics, didn't respond properly. Clearly spent 5 minutes in that village and got turned up. He's always looking for breadcrumbs to spice him up. So it's crazy to think when I wouldn't be surprised one bit, Pat, when Rory wins on Sunday. I probably won't bet it, but he will cite the determination of the Olympians and taking such pride, like that really lit a fire, a breadcrumb for him, because he's always searching for crumbs. And sometimes he's talking through his crumbs to us that he is searching for, but he's always looking for something to kick his ass, like not kick his ass, but anything, from caring too much to not caring enough. I could see him saying, walking that Olympic village lit a fire in me, and I credit my win to almost what I got to watch other people do last week.
In the 28 range, you said you like Victor. There's other guys who are dead. There's like a glut of guys, 6 guys on DraftKings Sportsbook who are 28-1. I'd expect to see some of them fall, depending if they're not the popular options. Like if people aren't going to Scheffler, he'll drop to 35 or 33 or something like that. I did have mild interest in Paul Casey, though. If this is an event where you can win with just ball striking and maybe your putter doesn't need to be electric, I don't know if I can get there at 28-1, but he's just playing so well.
Yeah, 28. Maybe look around, but the ball striking's quite there. Again, a lot of people will tell you, yeah, Casey will get you exactly to where he got people who bet him last week. Sunday in an amazing position, and then he'll just not do it. But he does check a lot of the boxes for this course, and he would be another player who, I don't know how to say this, because I'm not comparing it to a major, But like I always sometimes the week after majors and guys that like were in the full throttle of contention, I wonder about the mental toll. And I would say he was full throttle contending, not just in Tokyo, full throttle contending for gold in Tokyo, much like Hideki. I don't know if I have a different thought on that than say a player like a Lowry or a Neiman who kind of just I assume had a beautiful personal experience, didn't have the scoring they wanted, but they just kind of lollygagged the pack on contending at all. That's me being ridiculous. If you trust your numbers on Casey, I guess bet him.
I mean, I never really bet Casey, like once or twice a year. Then like, why am I betting Paul Casey? I'll probably just play him on DraftKings. That's usually the best way to do it. Tune in tomorrow to see if Paul Casey is one of the DraftKings picks. I'm assuming that he's going to be. 30 to 100 range. I got two guys that I bet from here. And that's probably all I'm going to get to. Like you always say in these WGCs, and even last week with the Olympic field, like when you have these small field events, very rarely do you see like one of the mid-tier or even like bottom pack people win. It's usually one of the top end guys.
Outside of match play, what's our outlier WGC win? Like, just help me remember it.
I mean, the last one, the last one I really remember that was a field like this was Kokrak winning at the CJ Cup, which is essentially a WGC field.
Yep. No, that's a good point. That being said, I remember, Pat, there was like a 6-year window. You would literally read the last like 18 winners of WGCs, and it was a cavalcade of superstars. You want me to do Shane Lowry.
Yeah, I will do it for you right now. We'll take the match play out because that's a weird event. So we'll just do this event. The one that was at Concession, and that is usually in Mexico, and then the one in China. So you have Morikawa, Reed, Thomas, Dustin, Brooks, Rory, Xander, Justin Thomas, Phil, Dustin, Hideki, Rose, Hideki, Dustin, Scott, Dustin, Shane Lowry, Russell Knox. That's dating back to 2015.
Yeah. And then, so I don't see myself... I'll be building the card in front of the guys who can't win, to be honest. You will be talked into a number that I like, and there's a deep one that I think we're both on, and maybe something FOMO deep in the pack. But no, I see no. If I swing and miss, and someone takes this thing, I'll have to accept the loss. But I will be taking my cuts at the good players.
Yeah, I probably won't even be really doing that. Like I said, I'm in on Berger. That unless I get to Brooks, he'd be the one who I have the most interest in. It'll probably be 50 to 1 for the next guy. I just don't plan on investing a ton of money into this event. We're in that weird stretch of golf where I hope to get lucky. I've run the numbers. I see a few spots that I like, but I'm not going to go like too heavy. Plus, I'll bet like Barracuda this week. I'll watch Sky and Tom on the European Tour show. I'll get sucked into some Euro bets. So I'll spread the wealth around. I already got money on Brooke Henderson for the Olympic women's event.
I was going to say, I will have money on 4 events this week because I will tail a pick Sky once tells the world to tail via Mayo Media. I'll have my picks here. I got a lady pick or two, and I got Barracuda picks. So yeah, I'll have money on 4 golf tournaments. So better not like get crazy on one of them, or it can get ugly.
Yeah, for sure. So the 2 guys that I like, you and I both like Sergio. I wrote up Sergio. He beat everyone at the 3M tee to green by 3 strokes. He happened to lose 7 strokes putting, which is not atypical for Sergio. Now, he has played this event 3 times. He has, in the past 10 years at least, he's gained putting in 2 of those events. So if he just continues to strike the shit out of the ball like he's been doing, and like I mentioned, you don't have to gain 8 strokes putting at this event to win it. You can be like around even if the ball striking is good enough. And his ball striking right now is essentially it's Morikawa than Sergio in terms of the best players in the world and how they're striking the ball. So Sergio 75 to 1 I'm in each way.
I love it. I wish Sunday I'll probably be wishing I played the each way, but I'm so greedy. I actually see an opportunity. After telling you guys only a good player is going to win, a really good player, I actually see a great opportunity with Sergio. I was on him like a lot of you. We both touted him for the 3M. I can't go off. I can't. His magic wand is on, and he usually keeps it in form. His irons, and let's just hope, like you said, we can get some semblance of life. And as you pointed out, historical data shows you can do exactly what Sergio does and win here, so long as you're not nut low with the flat sticks as he was in Minnesota. Can I ask you about Hatton at 50-1? How lost is he? Because for a strong event, this is as great a number. This is a pretty strong number, and something that's not a major for a guy that most people are usually willing to run to. Was maybe a consensus, such a popular pick for the Open where he emceed.
Was he?
Yeah, he was very popular.
Yeah, I missed that one. He's just not playing a lot of golf right now. Like, he played in the, did he play? No, I don't even think he played in the Scottish. Like, he's played the U.S. Open and the Open. That's basically been it.
Interesting.
He missed the cut at both those. I'll look up to see if he played in the Scottish Open. Maybe he did. Maybe he went on a little bit of a run there, but I mean, he should.
And what about Kokrak sitting just in front of Sergio on these boards? Like, if there's any guy to trust in this range, I don't know. He seems to still be putting a lot of what he's been putting together all season every time he steps out.
Hatton did play the Scottish. He came T18 this week. I agree with you on Kokrak. I actually went in a different direction. At DK Sportsbook, this guy is 35-1, but almost every other place that I've seen has him at 50-1, so I bet him. Is Harris English, who's won this. I mean, he didn't win when it was a WGC, but he's won at Southwind in the past. And, he had the win. He had the third place finish at the U.S. Open, and he was dead to rights at the Open Championship. And he fucking rallied for the good of all mankind out there and got himself to the cut. Like, he's playing good golf right now. It's a course he's familiar with. In his 6 tries at this course, he has a win. He has a top 10. He's gained putting 5 times. And if he's going to be putting and continuing to hit his irons like he is, I think that he's super live at that number. And we've seen him win a tournament like this already this year.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hit a winning ticket on him at 50-1 at the Travelers, but then I'm running through that Travelers field in my head. I'm like, that was not a slouch week after a major field.
Oh, shit. I was going to say that he won Tournament of Champions, which was a no-cut event with all these guys, essentially.
Even better comp. Yeah, I mentioned Kokrak, but it's of the same vein. And maybe English is in the hotter zone, arguably at the moment. And I got to tell you, a little with how well he's been playing and getting a little rest, no one is probably walking to the golf course feeling better than Harris English, outside of maybe Xander Schauffele, because his chest might be puffed out with a medal. But yeah, I always wish it would be more than 50 for a WGC, but I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, so those are the 3 guys. Actually, I have 4 guys, but Berger at 25, English at 50, Sergio at 75, Sergio with the each way. Then I played Siwoo at 100-1 because it's me with the each way. That's it. That's all I got. You got anyone else?
I want to ask. Well, I don't forget it. I don't know. I'm seeing Finau at 40. I feel like he's played well here, but I don't have any actual memory of that.
When you say that he's played well, how well do you think that he's played?
Like a bunch of top 20s and enjoys his experiences.
He's played this course 3 times. He came top 10 in 2008 before it was a WGC. In the 2 years that it has been a WGC, he's been 27th and 65th.
And he was playing horribly and kind of like got some things going at the Open. Never like really contending, but he actually played better than he'd played in quite some time at the Open. I don't know. He still seems lost with form though.
Yeah. I mean, Webb has 2 top 15s in the 2 WGC years. Fitzpatrick's been 6th and 4th the last 2 years, which I thought was interesting.
Sorry.
Go for it.
Reed's won Wyndham, right? And doesn't he always play in it?
He plays every week. He's played literally across the world.
There's no way he plays next week.
Would you put it past him?
I wouldn't, but it's so crazy. That's why I dropped him in the fantasy line. Like, there was a debate, like sheer volume. Sheer volume.
That's how I felt.
Come on.
That's how I felt about Sung Jae too. And Sung Jae's just kind of blown it. He plays every week. He sucks now though.
I wouldn't be shocked at all. But right before the FedEx Cup, where like he has to take a week off before he goes and wins a FedEx Cup event.
Yeah, and they're going back to Liberty where he won last time too. All right, let's do the quick picks. Quick picks for the WGC. Actually, no, let's talk about Barracuda very quickly because I bet Gellerman 200-1 with an each way. That's all I got. That's all.
That's your only bet.
That's all I've looked into the Barracuda. It's Stableford scoring if people don't remember.
Yeah, and I enjoy the field. I bet Gary Woodland at 33-1 simply because he's actually been playing well, and he like the ceiling and low scoring. I don't know, you get hot, you get those extra points. Obviously, if he finds landmines here, you're triple screwed because going backwards in any regard. And I was like really into Shez and Hadwin, but both their numbers dropped, but I still might be into them just based on they contended on the last time we played. And all three guys, I could be making this up, Pat, or you could tell me there's no correlation, but it's elevation golf, right? Or desert golf.
It's elevated. It's in California now. It wasn't Lake Tahoe, but it's all in that same region.
All right. I don't know. Hadwin's won American Express. Shez and Gary won out in Arizona. And now I'm just making things up for golfers.
This is nowhere near this isn't in the desert whatsoever.
Yeah. So it's not desert golf.
No.
It's straight elevation golf.
Yeah.
Gary Woodland. I had a moment in my life where I thought I would never bet Gary Woodland again.
I remember.
He lost this thing down the stretch to Super Nintendo Chalmers.
Yeah. No, I don't think it was at this course though.
Oh, well, it was the Barracuda stable for up in elevated mountain region.
Yeah, I think it used to be in Lake Tahoe, but like the last two winners, I think at this course, I think it's been the last 2 years. Morikawa won. Did Morikawa win this? Yeah, Morikawa.
Yeah, I don't know if it was this course, but he won. This was his first win.
Yeah, he won 2 years ago. And then last year, obviously, Richie Wawrinski won. But it just seems like the Griot types are the types that you want at this course now.
This is Morikawa's only non-major or workday victory, Pat.
Yeah, he won concession.
That was workday.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They bought into it, and he won it. He's won 2 majors in the Workday Memorial and the Workday Concession WGC.
That's awesome. So next time we're at Workday, don't bet on Matthew Fitzpatrick, who's sponsored by Workday. Bet on Colin Morikawa. Fortunately, I've cashed both of his Workday tickets, so that's good.
Yes, you have. So those were the quick guys I liked. I did bet Gellerman though. I'm on that train. He was Sergio-esque in Minnesota.
Yeah, I believe he led the field in strokes gained approach. So if it's just about making bogeys, don't hurt you as much here. It's just all about making birdies. Get that Stableford scoring into your system. I was actually surprised to see him at 200-1, honestly, in this field with the way that he's been playing.
Yeah, so I don't know. Is there like a type of player type you like care, look for, or I got no idea.
Tune into another show for extensive Barracuda picks this week because I don't.
But I think there's a lot of guys like with good numbers that have been playing really good golf. Like Adam Shanks, like near 40, 50-1. Like a lot of guys that have been contending lately are there. And it sucks for how to put this. Like, you know, anytime Griot's like flirting with a co-favorite of an event, you know, things are going to get spicy.
I could see Griot winning this week. I put it this way. I'm not betting Griot at 18-1 to win this event. This is the one where Brendan Grace was winning until he had to withdraw because of COVID last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's the original.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of fun names like near the top that people bet on that first win, right? Mito and McNeely,
Pendrith, Peters.
So there's a lot of like flavor du jours.
Like honestly, like Thomas Peters at 28-1 would probably be the one that does it for me the best. I just think he's the best player of these guys. Like Mito might long term be the best player, but Peters, I think, has a long enough track record that he is the best player of these guys.
Yeah. Has Doc Redman had any life lately? Because I don't know. People were all over him, and this seems like a true jabroni bet for 50, 60-1.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he fits the profile of champ, and and Cam Davis, guy that everyone used to bet on and then everyone stopped betting on, and then somehow I'll just see who like the popular long shot is this week who hasn't done in a while. I'll just tail everyone else's picks because they seem to be hitting.
Great. All right.
Quick picks for the week in golf. I got Brooke Henderson, 25 to 1, doing the women's Olympic event. I got Berger at 25, English at 50, Sergio at 75, and Kim at 100 to 1 at the WGC. And I bet Michael Gellerman at 200 to 1 with the top 5 each way at the Barracuda. All of my full picks in the cheat sheet form in the newsletter on Wednesday, along with the secret shows that are up there. Jeff, who you got?
Ladies, I've got Brooke and Leona McGuire. And in the Barracuda, I have bet Woodland and Gellerman. And in the PGA or in the WGC, Sergio at 80 to 1. I'm probably gonna bet Victor Hovland 28 to 1.
Okay. One and done selections for the WGC. We only got a few tournaments left here. I think it's pretty close. I haven't added it up in a while, but Spieth coming second at the Open really kind of thrust me back up the board. So I'm either just ahead or we're all about equal. I used Berger at the last WGC. Who can I take here then? Have I used Sergio yet? You used Sergio last time out. I'll use Sergio this week. I got Sergio Garcia. Who do you got?
I'll just pick Louis.
Nah, that's a good call. We didn't even talk about Louis, but it does seem like he is legitimately on a breakthrough for a win.
Yeah, he's just playing well. I don't know. I'll use him here.
All right. And Tim has
can't go this season without getting him out. So let's just get him while he's might have some steam left.
Yeah, he was 6th here last year too, so it's not like he's played poorly at this course over the years. Maybe I should give a bigger look to Louis. Maybe the first time I'll bet on Louis all year is the week he wins. Who knows? And I found him at a 25 to 1. Maybe that's the number. I'll ask Tim. I'll include that in the cheat sheet later on in the week who Cust is taking as his one and done. Want to remind you again to play in the Listeners League link, fantasynational.com/Mayo for a discount. runthesims.com/Mayo for a discount on the NFL product as well. I'll be back either Tuesday or Wednesday with the DraftKings picks for this event. You can follow Jeff on Twitter at GFienberg17 and check out the Jeff Fienberg Show Wednesday and Friday on FTNDaily.com. And that'll wrap it up for us. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience! Experience!